this is Jill Yeagerliner from Jillibean Soup, and today I'd like to tell you about our Mix the Media products, or basically some wood surfaces, or a lot of different wood surfaces. We started Mix the Media a couple years ago, and we started with some basic wood palette frames, and you can see this 12 by 12 size here. So it's just a piece of wood that's got some slatted pieces on it to look like a palette, and then it's actually boxed out on the sides here. And the other thing about this is that they come with what we call our rustic stain. So this is already prepped for you. It's a great surface that you can make a sign out of it. You can add pieces to it like vintage letters. You basically can just use it as an art canvas. So as the category grew, we were able to add some other items to it, and we have some of our shaped wood pieces. So you can see here the heart shaped, which you can see an example down here in front of me. That's the blue with the XO. We have our USA shaped as well, and this comes with a cute little heart tack that you can put somewhere in the USA where either you live or maybe your loved ones live. We've got our 3D star shapes as well, and then we have our framed chicken wire here. One quick easy thing that you can do is that you can buy a simple wreath from your local craft store, you know, whether it be this cotton type or maybe it's even one of the boxwood wreaths, and you can just add it to the wood. So instead of just your wreath hanging on your door or on your wall, now you've got this really cool frame behind the wreath. You can also just take any basic letters that you find in the store. For instance, I just picked this up again at just one of my local craft stores. You can paint these. Something like this is really easy to paint with like spray paint, and you can just add it to the front and again hang it on your wall. If you can see some of the images behind me, you can see that there are quite a few different projects that I've hung on the wall behind me. These are all Mix the Media items that we've created. Also, I wanted to tell you, after we created some of the shapes, we also did some framed chalkboards here. You can see this one right here that has a sentiment on it. We've done some framed galvanized pieces. That particular one has vinyl on it with a cute saying. You can see now that we actually, instead of just a rustic stain, we also have whitewashed pieces, we have natural pieces. You can see this really cute saying or sign that we made, just using a natural piece. It didn't need to be stained or anything like that. Just the brown paint and the saying and the teal blue paint looks really cool. And now I'd like to show you a tutorial on how to use stencils with some of our wood products. So interestingly enough about our wood, it's made to be distressed. We make it that way on purpose just because it's the way that we like this format to be. So you have some ridges and stuff like that, and it looks distressed as it is. It kind of looks like a palette, if you will. So we're gonna do some vinyl stencils on it, and I'll kind of describe some other stencils and tell you why. So here are some just basic plastic stencils that you can pick up at any store, any craft store that is. I like these really cute arrows, and you know, here's an alphabet. With these, you probably want to use some stencil adhesive. Plaid makes a great one, just a spray on, and it's repositionable and stuff like that. This is also a stencil that we've used in the past, and with the stencils too, I use this on a 6x6, and I actually used some texture paste with it and got a really cool flower that came out of that. These are some masks, and again, they're plastic too, and you could put some adhesive on it, or I would suggest that you put some adhesive on it and then lay it down. And a lot of times with masks, what I find is easy is that I will just use spray paint with them. So I would go ahead and adhere this down and then spray over top of it. When you lift that up, that's what shows through is the wood behind. So they work really well with spray paint. And then a couple other ones, you know, this is just a basic polka dot, but this could be used for a great background stencil. You could simply lay it down, do some polka dots, and then do whatever your project is on top of that. Works great. And then some some paper stencils here as well. I have used a lot of these with the wood, and mainly because they're inexpensive and easy for me to just cut with my silhouette. So if you don't have a die cut machine, remember that you can pretty much make a stencil from anything in your house, any kind of shapes, whatever. But this particular one, this USA, I did cut with my Silhouette. And when I would be using a paper stencil, just because, again, the wood is distressed and sometimes you'll get some bleeding, I actually would take adhesive, and I just use regular adhesive because I know I'm pulling it right back up around the edges, and then go ahead and adhere it so that you've got a nice barrier on that edge and that your paint doesn't seep through. But today I'm actually going to show you how to use some vinyl stencils, or a vinyl stencil in particular. I'm not sure if you can see this, but this actually says hello. It's just cut out of a brown vinyl that I purchased from Silhouette. And there's features on your die cut machine and whatnot. I'm not an expert with a Silhouette by any means, but this is how I like to do it. What you need to do is you're going to cut this out, and you need to take it, your weeding tool, and you actually need to pull up the insides of it so that you will form a stencil after you pull the rest of this. Okay, you see that? If you wanted to, you could certainly keep that mask and either use it as art on another piece, or use it as a mask on another piece. So now I'm left with my stencil here, and notice the nice cursive letters and everything. This makes a really nice, easy stencil. So what I've got to do next is actually transfer this stencil onto my wood using the transfer tape. And I'm just using, again, just kind of a transfer material that Silhouette has. There's all sorts of tapes. There's all sorts of different kinds of vinyl that you can use. You can use them with your machines. And so I'm just going to lay this down on my stencil. And this just makes it easier to pull up. Sometimes when you pull up on the vinyl, it tends to stick together and it's not easy to work with. So you can see here how I added the transfer material to the top of it. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull my stencil off of here and transfer it onto the wood. You see that? All right, so I've got my wood piece here. It's my 6x6 piece. I'm just going to go ahead and stick this down. And you'll see that one of the E's was left behind. And I can add that in here in a second. Next, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to push this down so that my stencil actually sticks to the wood. And you can use, you know, a credit card or a squeegee or something like that if you want. This is just such a small surface that we should be able to be okay with this. And if it starts to pull up as you're pulling it, you know, go ahead and press down. Again, because the wood itself is distressed, you know, you're going to have some lumps and some bumps, and that's okay. What we're trying to do here is just build a really nice surface, or build a nice barrier, I should say, between the surface and the vinyl. All right. All right. So can you see that? All right. So now I'm going to take my little E piece off here. And if you don't have one of these little hook tools, I suggest that you get one. All right. So there's my hello. I'm just going to go back over the pieces and make sure they're all pressed down. All right, can you see that? All right, next I'm going to take some paint. So I'm using the pink Happy Hues paint, just so you can see it a little bit better on the wood. You can see on these I used a teal blue. All right, I'm going to dab my sponge, and I actually like to use makeup sponges for this. Just kind of, they're narrow down here, and it helps you to get in some of the crevices pretty easily. All right, I'm going to dab some of it off, and then I'm going to dab along here. You want to make sure that you get all of the surface area that you can see. It doesn't need to be a ton of paint. If you want to do a couple coats, you can. I typically do not, because I think that it kind of makes it look distressed when you pull it off too. Okay? Okay, really easy. Now I'm just going to go ahead and pull up my vinyl. You can see that I'm left with a couple pieces inside the holes here. I'm just going to grab that. And grab this one. And I'll grab these smaller pieces. All right, if you can see that, you can see how it says hello there. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure to check out our website at www.jillibean-soup.com and also our blog, because there's lots of great projects on there as well. Thanks for watching and happy crafting.